We're just starting to get out of the cold season here in Arkansas, and it's a great time to get into some uncrowded campgrounds and see some great views on Arkansas's amazing hiking trails. It's also a good time to go fishing if you can handle it. We'll give you some motivation on this episode of Arkansas's Great Outdoors. Arkansas is a great four-season state. We have long summers, beautiful springs and falls, and the bitter days of winter are measured in days, not months. Winter is also a great time to go fishing. That's when the fish like to congregate together and they like to go deep. We're going to go fishing today, and we've got a great guide for you. Our very first edition of FLW Arkansas started 6 years ago. Our very first champion, Mablevale's Quincy Houchin. What's it like now you are a BFL champion?
I like it.
Good deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Since that time, Quincy has dominated leaderboards all over the state. He has won multiple Angler of the Year awards and is well respected in a very talented Arkansas angler community. We are thrilled to have him on the show today to share some insights, not on bass, but cold weather crappie. Well, it is an honor to be in the boat with Quincy Houchin. It is a very crisp morning in Arkansas, a little chilly.
For sure.
And to be fair, we were going to do this shoot a week prior, and it was 16 degrees.
Right. Yeah, I do.
We were thinking, you know, it might test the ability of our cameras to actually work that cold. So it's a balmy low 30s right now, and we're on a lake.
That's right, Lake X.
Lake X. It's somewhere east of Fort Smith and west of West Memphis, and we're going to do a little bit of crappie fishing today. And Quincy's got a technique down, and we're going to learn a lot about how to catch some good crappie in Arkansas.
That's
one of the best tasting fish.
I'm telling you, hitting brim, it don't get any better.
Yeah, that's true. So how long have you been using this technique to catch crappie?
Probably for at least 15 years.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I've been on this lake since I was in diapers. My dad, he couldn't go without. He was the babysitter.
Oh, okay.
So if he went, I had to go.
Yeah.
So I was always out here with him since I was a kid.
That's the best kind of babysitter there is.
You go. Yeah.
So when you're fishing for bass in a lot of these tournaments and a lot of tournaments across the state, what's more fun, bass or crappie?
I love to do both, but probably crappie fishing thrills me more. I don't know what it is about it, but I guess the no stress, the no time limit, that kind of stuff. But I do love tournament fish. Something about something about that, just competition.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the best tournament anglers in the state. We're going to learn a lot today on Lake X. We'll get back to Quincy in just a moment, but first let's get some hiking tips from Bad Boy Mowers' Mallory Lindsay.
Seeing wildlife on the trails can be a highlight to any outdoor adventure, but some animals we may not want to interact with. For instance, snakes. Now personally, I love snakes, they don't bother me, but here are a few tips in case you don't want this kind of interaction. First, stay on the trails, in particular the middle of trails. Snakes like to stay on the borders of trails because they get a little bit of sunlight but also have an escape route back into the forest. Never put your hands or your feet anywhere you can't see. There can easily be a snake on the other side of a rock sunbathing or on the other side of a fallen tree. Last is the time of day. Snakes typically sunbathe early morning and in the evening, so going hiking midday can greatly reduce your chances of encountering the snake.
When you're following these tips from Mallory Lindsay, that means you're in a great place to take some great photos. And we'd like to introduce a new segment for you on the show called Arkansas's Postcards. It's an opportunity to celebrate what's great about the natural state. Send in your photos to photos@arkansasgreatoutdoors.com and we'll put them on the air. We talk a lot about archery on Arkansas's Great Outdoors because a lot of people are getting into it. It's a great way to enjoy hunting, and it's a great way to learn a skill that's been around for centuries. Here's a great tip on getting started from our friends at Archer's Advantage in Sherwood.
Hi, this is Buddy at Archer's Advantage. For the newcomers getting into archery, I just want to let you know there's some very important things you need to know before you purchase your first bow. One of the most important things in having a new bow is to have your draw length set correctly, have your peep sight adjusted to your height, have your air rest falling in to the timing of your bow. At any time, you know, feel free to come in and let us show you the product that we have on the shelf where you can be fitted. You know, there's several different things you need to have. Draw length is one. Too short a draw length is too bad. Too long a draw length is really bad. The main thing in archery is coming into a pro shop like at Archer's Advantage and let us fit you to the right draw length and the poundage that you can control at all times. And don't feel intimidated by not knowing nothing. We'll answer all your questions that you have. Just feel free to come by and shop with us and let us show you what's available out on the market today that we can get you set up properly to shoot your bow.
When Arkansas's Great Outdoors returns, Quincy Houchin shows us the fishing can be hot when the fishermen are cold. Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, mow with an attitude, by H2O Marine, and by Archer's Advantage.
Where haven't we gone? What hasn't been done? What's still left to be discovered and possible beyond the horizon? How can we continue pushing limits, breaking boundaries, and leading the way? At Bad Boy, it's not just about finding the answers, it's about the pursuit. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
When exploring the great outdoors, safety is our #1 priority. So having a trail buddy is ideal, but if you have to go solo, make sure you text a friend or a family member your location and how long you'll be outdoors. In addition to texting, it's always a good idea to put your itinerary in your glove compartment. That way, if any unfortunate events happen and you need a search and rescue team to come find you, they have a good starting point.
We return to Quincy Houchin. Let's set the stage. Now, we are on a mysterious lake. Anglers like to keep some secrets, you know. The main thing to know is that it's cold, a few degrees below freezing. Amazingly, no one else was at the boat ramp this morning. We had a bit of a breeze and no clouds in the sky. But we are fishing deep in the 30 to 40 foot range. We are also heavily relying on Garmin's LiveScope graph. This technology has changed the face of fishing.
You know, before we'd have to idle on all this stuff. Idle, use regular down imaging, you know, and sonar. It just cuts a lot of the hunt out.
It's almost like playing a video game.
Yeah, as you can see, because it's down there don't mean you're going to catch them all the time.
Yeah, people. So it's kind of like video game fishing in the sense that, you know, you can see things that just a few years ago there was no way to see. I mean, this has really changed the way we fish.
On the regular sonar, you know, you can still see your bait and your line, but it was nothing like this.
Yeah, yeah.
It has definitely changed fishing.
So this is the group of guys we're tracing after. There's Quincy's bait dropping down right there. He's right there in and amongst. So
you see the bait there?
Yeah. And so you try to keep the bait above the fish.
I try to. Fish would rather feed up, especially a crappie, in my mind. But sometimes you got to get down below that top layer too.
Yeah. There we go.
That right there is the best eater in a crappie.
Oh, really? About that size? Yeah.
That's the best eater. To me, and you ask most people, them old big ones, they ain't like a bass. They ain't no good to eat.
You know, I've heard that. Yeah, I don't I don't like to eat bass anyway, just because
Kentuckies, I'll keep them. But them blacks and stuff,
Yeah.
This is different.
I just kind of feel like I've made a pact with the bass that if they'll let me catch them
Yeah,
and put
right.
them on TV, then I'll let them go back and swim. But
That's the way I am.
yeah, crappie don't get the same kind of deal though.
No.
Tastes too good. Quincy looks for areas where there are logs and deep structure around which crappie congregate. Some reservoirs filled up a bit faster than expected and left timber behind. Aesthetically, it wasn't planned, but it's a boon for fishermen. I mean, there's just a bunch of guys right around here. And will this fill in a little bit more as the sun comes up?
Be 1,000 down there.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it'll.
So what is it about this area? What this
It's
type
just
of...
something. They've always. It's kind of like ducks to Stuttgart. I don't know what it is. They just know where it's at for
Yeah.
some reason. It seems like.
Yeah. There we go.
He ate it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You know, one of the interesting things here is when you talk about the temptation to go off of that, it's kind of like on a topwater. You know, your temptation as soon as you see a splash is to set the hook.
That's right.
You gotta wait until.
Just a second, yeah.
Yeah, and so the same thing here is you'd be tempted to jump when you see the fish move.
That's right. Yep. And you do.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you'll see them rush up there to it and spin around. They don't get it. Never feel nothing.
Ben Batten, I'm Chief of Fisheries for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and I've been fishing since I was a kid. I have a lot of great memories with my family, are chasing crappie, catfish, and bass. Arkansas is extremely fortunate to have over 90,000 miles of streams and rivers, along with 600,000 acres of lakes. And all of those equal a lot of great fishing opportunities here in the natural state. In order to help keep those fisheries great and fund fisheries management, we require that all people 16 and older purchase a fishing license. At just $10.50 here in Arkansas, we have one of the most affordable fishing licenses in the country, and a quick trip to the grocery store to buy some fish will tell you that it doesn't take many trips out to recoup the cost of that fishing license. So what do you get for your $10.50 fishing license here in Arkansas, and what does it mean for aquatic resources here in the natural state? The major funding sources for fisheries work in Arkansas include both the sales of license and trout permits, along with sport fish restoration funds, which come to us from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. These funds alone equal $5 million a year that go towards making fishing great here in the natural state. This also includes the creation and maintenance of fishing access areas, including both boating access and bank fishing access. There's a lot of great work that goes on here in the natural state, so know that when you buy your license, that money is going back to fund, and you are an important part of conservation. So we're fortunate here in America to have a great system of conservation that's funded both through federal grants and the purchase of fishing license. So your fishing license purchase contributes to conservation of fishing experiences across the country.
Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, mow with an attitude, by H2O Marine, and by Archer's Advantage.
The best leaders don't just forge ahead, they adjust. Bad Boy Mowers has made adjustments at every turn, including our revolutionary 3-link suspension. Built tough and designed for superior performance and speed. Adjust the seat, handles, and pedals however you want. And as for Bad Boy's rebellious spirit, well, that hasn't adjusted at all. Bad Boy, mow.
I hope you're enjoying these scenes from Arkansas's Great Outdoors. Now, we would love to add your photos. Send them to us at photos@arkansasgreatoutdoors.com and we'll put them on the air. You can let us know the location or you can just let us guess. Either way, we'd love to experience your view of Arkansas. We'll get back to some great crappie fishing with Quincy Houchin in just a moment, but first let's get in one of my favorite experiences, seeing someone catch their first ever fish.
All right, so you ready to do some fishing, Miss Molly? Okay, so we've got our minnows.
Welcome to one of our favorite parts of this program, a segment called First Fish. This is Molly, who has never caught a fish.
And then we have our hook. And what goes on the hook?
The fish.
The minnow goes on the hook,
Yeah, and the fish bites it.
and the fish bites the minnow, and the hook catches the fish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And here's our golden shiner.
Is it called a golden shiner?
It's called a golden shiner. And we're gonna take this hook and we're gonna put it right here in his tail. And remember we talked about, you push the button and then throw it all the way out there. Ooh, good job. Now we have to wait for our bobber. Oh, you see the bobber? Oh, reel it in, reel it in, reel it in. Reel it in.
I got one.
Oh, you got one, Molly. You excited?
Yeah. I got a fish.
You got a fish?
I got a fish. I can't believe I got a fish.
You did really well. Want me to help you?
Ah! I haven't got a fish like this.
Whoa, look at that. Molly, how about that?
That is a real.
That is a real fish, huh?
What is it called?
This is called a speckle belly brim. Do you see the pretty speckle bellies
Yeah.
on his belly?
Yeah.
You want to touch him?
I don't want to. I don't like touching fish.
You don't like touching fish?
No.
Why not?
It's slobbery.
They're slimy. So Molly, you want to make sure he swims away. There we go. Happy fish. You want to catch another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Molly was hooked. Within moments, she was back at it and then learned the lesson about the one that got away, but not for long.
Oh, what happened? Oh no.
Ah, it bited off
It-
the line.
It bited off the line.
That must have been a big one.
Whoa! Molly,
Big one.
you think it's a big one? That is a big one. Look at that.
Ah!
Look at that, Molly.
That's a humongous one.
That is a humongous fish, Miss Molly.
I think that's the same one.
That's the same one that broke your line?
I think I do not want to let that one go.
You don't want to let that one go, huh? He's
No,
pretty, isn't
I
he?
want to keep him. I want to touch him. Oh, that.
What's he feel like?
He feels gooey.
Gooey?
I think it's a boy.
You think it's a boy?
So I'm going to name him Camo.
Camo? So we're going to put Camo back in the pond, okay?
Okay.
Okay, say bye-bye to Camo.
Bye-bye, Camo.
Bye-bye.
And I might catch you next time.
I think you will catch him next time. He'll be looking for you. Say bye.
Bye-bye. Come on. Stay with me.
Oh, there he goes.
I like Camo.
You like Camo? Molly, give me
I think with the other hand.
with the other hand. Good job. So a tip for fishing with live bait with large groups is an igloo cooler. 3 inches of ice on the bottom. Drop your bag of minnows in, an aerator, like cold beer. Keep your fish fresh all day.
Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, mow with an attitude, by H2O Marine, and by Archer's Advantage.
Where haven't we gone? What hasn't been done? What's still left to be discovered and possible beyond the horizon? How can we continue pushing limits, breaking boundaries, and leading the way? At Bad Boy, it's not just about finding the answers, it's about the pursuit. Bad Boy, mow with a
Hello folks, I'm Brad Patterson with on the pro staff of H2O Sports. Just wanted to talk a little bit about, when you first get a boat, what you need to kind of understand and all, but you need to familiarize yourself with all the operations inside the boat. You got all these switches that run your aerator, your bilge pump, any accessories, your fuel gauges, and a lot of boats come with a SmartCraft, smart gauge that ties into your motor. So it tells you the functions of what's going on with your motor. You can see your temperature, water temperature. You can see everything going on it. So pay attention to that while you're, when you're learning to drive it, and know where those settings or what it's showing. That way you can kind of tell if you're going to have a problem later, because you'll see that a setting is a little different than what it should be. But anyway, I would just suggest, even if if you can't get it to the water the first time you buy it, sit in your garage, get your manual out, understand all the functions, and then get it on the water and make sure everything works. And then again, your best deal on everything on the boat is your relationship with your dealer. Develop a relationship with your dealer that you can go to them for any kind of questions, and they can usually give you all the kind of answers. That's what I do. I go to H2O Sports and they take care of me.
Let's get back to the action now with Quincy Houchin on a very cold day on Lake X, the Mystery Lake somewhere in Arkansas. It's been fairly consistent at times where we get into an active group of crappie. Again, we are fishing deep and watching the live scope. When the school moves, it's time to go. So it's proof that fish don't talk to each other, because you've got this huge congregation of fish every day, and every day probably a couple of hundred of them disappear and don't go back home. And you'd think they'd get the word out.
I call it, now they will stop biting after you catch a few out of one little group. I call it the roll call. When they do roll call, that's it.
That's it. Where's Eddie? Where's Eddie? Anybody seen Eddie? Okay.
Something's happening. Hold up here now. See how the tree right here is that's the limbs, That's all around like that. See all the fish are below that. In my mind, in my past many experiences, when they're below that top piece of structure, they're harder to catch. On a day they're feeding, generally they'll be way up here, You won't even see these limbs because they'll be in the top of them.
There we go.
It's struck.
Yeah. Alrighty.
That's the perfect eater, but if you don't want to keep it, you don't keep it.
No, if they're good eaters, we want them. Yeah.
When you clean them, you'll know the difference.
That's right. Oh, I got hit.
We could have had a double.
Yeah.
Same thing, he's already. His bladder's bloated.
All right, so we've got kind of a unique setup today, and there's a couple of things that I think a lot of anglers would be surprised with. One is this swivel right here.
Right, yeah.
And then you've got a little color on here. So we've got a little red, a little chartreuse there at the end. Lightweight jig head. What's this weight?
It's 1/8 ounce.
1/8 ounce, okay. A little bit of a bullet presentation there, and then I see you got a red hook.
Yeah, I don't know if that matters or not, but to me it does.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
And I've always liked the head natural looking instead of pink or white, or everybody's got their preference, But and then again, I use the swivel for keep the line twist down. Then also to keep the jig sitting kind of like you're holding all the time.
Yeah.
It helps keep it more natural looking in the water.
Okay.
I mean, you can tie a loop knot.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm killing two birds with one stone.
With all the innovations in electronics and the equipment that's in the front of the boat now, it used to be just a little pink thing. That was it. There's so much now that you really have to have a console to keep it all organized, and you've got something I've never seen before, but that looks really cool.
Yeah, in my past few boats, I've had them, down here low. And I'm 45 now, my eyes are changing, And it definitely helps to have something to get it up higher. Well, this mount here, it's got an adjustable here where it lifts it up like that, right up here, where you can see it good. And you can tilt it, depending on the sun, you can tilt it like that or like that, either way. Just something to, to get it up there where you can see it better.
Yeah.
It'll also, like going down the lake, it won't hardly move. It's pretty sturdy bracket.
You can tell it's real solid.
Mounted good, solid.
So every day you go out fishing, you learn something. So what do you feel like we learned today?
Just learned that basically even on a high pressure day, you can still catch them. Of course, I'm not gonna lie, the live scope does help with that.
Yeah.
It helps you keep your bait in front of them 100% of the time.
Yeah.
As you can see today, it don't mean they're gonna bite all the time.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps.
There's a lot. It takes away a lot of the guesswork.
Oh yeah.
Because when you've got to be so precise on a finicky day, on a high pressure day, you've really got to put that lure right in front of them. And so that live scope helps you be able to do that.
Definitely.
Quincy was generous enough to donate the day's catch to the Wing family, and I can tell you we ate really well that night. Thank you for watching this episode of Arkansas's Great Outdoors. You got expert tips on catching crappie in cold weather, how to get started in archery, and more outdoors tips from our friends at Bad Boy Mowers. What a great episode, and we will see you next week on Arkansas's Great Outdoors.